At my wedding, my fiancé's ex-boyfriend showed up wearing the exact same suit as me to crash it. She said to me, "I'm sorry, Sincere. I still can't forget Ethan." Without hesitation, she abandoned me and ran off, leaving me alone on the stage to endure the mockery from all sides. Then Ethan's fiancée, dressed in her own wedding gown, walked towards me. "If she won't marry you, I will." "Wayness, are you sure?" I looked at the woman, extending her hand towards me, somewhat surprised. I'd heard she and Ethan Chandler had been in a long-term relationship, deeply in love. Why would she suddenly propose marrying me? I felt ridiculous for the question that had just slipped out. But the next second, Victoria Mason decisively took the ring box from my hand, pulled out the groom's ring, and slid it onto my finger. Then she held out her own left hand, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me. "Oh, Sincere Lawrence. I graduated from a top university. I'm educated. Our family companies already cooperate to varying degrees. While I didn't take over the family business, I've made a name for myself in modeling these past few years. And I have a career, I'm capable, and I'm better looking than your ex-fiancée, Felicia Fletcher. It's marrying me is no loss to you." With her laying it all out like that, hesitating would make me less of a man. I took the ring off my finger and tossed it back into the box. "She don't want to?" Her expression changed, pouting slightly as she stared at me. I smiled. "No, it's just that this ring isn't your size. We'll go get new ones custom made later." Also, I glanced around the wedding venue I had meticulously prepared, feeling only irony. "And since I'm marrying you, I want to give you the best. I don't want you to settle for someone else's leftovers. And go get the marriage license first. Give me 3 days, and I'll give you a wedding that belongs only to us." Victoria's smile returned, and she came over to link her arm through mine. Without even changing our clothes, we headed straight to City Hall. Amidst the congratulatory gazes of the staff, we received the marriage certificate that was uniquely ours. After ordering the new rings and dropping her home, I had just arrived back at my own place when Felicia Fletcher showed up. The wedding dress from the morning was long gone, replaced by a form-fitting dress with a high collar that didn't quite conceal faint red marks underneath. It seemed that besides getting married, she and Ethan had already consummated the marriage. Seeing me, Felicia put on a fawning smile. "Darling, you're back." I took a step back, avoiding her outstretched hand. "And Miss Fletcher, shouldn't you be spending your wedding night with your husband instead of coming to my house?" Her smile froze and she looked at me with a hurt expression. "Sincere. Do you really have to be so sarcastic? Does hurting my feelings make you happy? Sometimes you just have to laugh when you're speechless." Felicia abandoned me at the wedding altar and ran off with another man. She didn't think that hurt my feelings. She disappeared for a day and returned covered in marks left by another man. She didn't think that hurt my feelings either, but a single sentence from me somehow wounded her fragile heart. Her heart must be incredibly delicate. Seeing my displeased expression, she finally seemed to remember her outrageous actions from today. Squeezing out a couple of tears, she explained softly. I didn't mean to leave you like that today," she said. "It's all Ethan's fault. He begged me to help him put on an act to provoke his girlfriend, that model, Victoria Mason. You know her, right? When you know how much I hate her. So when Ethan asked for my help, I agreed. So didn't realize our weddings would be on the same day. It was such a rare chance to crush my archenemy. How could I possibly miss it?" The more she talked, the more justified she sounded in her own mind. She crossed her legs casually. "Don't worry, Ethan and I have it all figured out. During the day, we'll pretend to be a couple to annoy Victoria, but I'll still come back to spend the nights with you. Worst case, once Victoria gets on her knees and begs Ethan for forgiveness, you and I can just have another wedding." How could she even say something like that? What did she think marriage was? A children's game of house? I struggled to suppress the fury rising within me. "And Felicia Fletcher, whatever absurdities you and Ethan get up to are none of my business. I don't have a cuckold fetish, and I will absolutely not share my wife with another man. Oh, now please get the hell out of my house." This was the first time I had ever spoken to Felicia in such a harsh tone. She shot up from her seat, staring at me in disbelief. "Sincere Lawrence, what do you mean? I saw you breaking up with me, I gave a scornful laugh. When you let go of my hand at the wedding and left with Ethan, I thought we already broke up, and I expected her to show a sliver of regret at hearing this. Instead, she rolled her eyes. Sincere, I already explained. Ethan and I are just pretending. Are you trying to threaten me with a breakup? Are you still a 3-year-old? 3, my patience worn thin, I directly asked Mrs. Davis, the housekeeper, to show her out. Rejected repeatedly, Felicia stood at the door, furious, stomping her foot. Sincere Lawrence, don't you regret this? If I walk out this door today, even if you kneel and beg me to come back later, I won't give you the time of day. She stormed off angrily. So much had happened today. Exhausted, I lay on the bed, my mind involuntarily replaying Felicia's appearance as she left. I first met her during an outdoor camping trip. I spotted Felicia almost instantly in the crowd. She had a lively personality, easily mingling with strangers, and her smile was infectious. Late that night, however, I found her crying alone under a tree, a stark contrast to her sunny daytime demeanor. She looked up at me, and the tears on her face hit me hard. At that moment, the only thought in my head was the desire to protect her. Later, we exchanged contact information. Chatting idly, I learned she had just gone through a breakup. Feeling sorry for her, I began to pursue her more diligently, asking her out almost every week. She gradually let her guard down around me and accepted my confession of love. I thought we would continue like this, eventually walking down the aisle together. Unexpectedly, Ethan Chandler returned from abroad a year ago. Felicia immediately reconnected with him. She kept telling me they were just ordinary friends now, but their actions had long crossed that line. Even this wedding, the original date was next month. Felicia insisted on having it today, even giving me the cold shoulder over it. I had no choice but to relent. Looking back now, it seems likely she and Ethan had plotted this all along. The next day, I went to my parents' house and told them I had already registered my marriage with Victoria Mason. My parents were furious about Felicia's outrageous behavior yesterday and fully supported my decision. My mother said fiercely, "Aunt told you that girlfriend of yours was trouble yesterday. She utterly disgraced the Lawrence family name. I know the Mason girl, Victoria. She's a much better match for you. Your father and I have decided we'll add another $1 million to the wedding gifts and throw in a villa in the Southern District and want to see that Fletcher woman regret leaving my son." Just as I left the villa complex, a flashy red sports car forced me to stop. Felicia leaned out from the driver's seat. Her eyes caught sight of the passenger seat and back row of my car, piled high with gift boxes and the property deed resting on top. A flicker of triumph crossed her face. "You heading to my house? Sincere, you don't really think that after saying such awful things to me yesterday, you can just bribe my parents with this stuff today to speak well of you, do you?" Ethan sat beside Felicia, sneering. "See, Felicia, didn't I tell you? These rich kids think money can buy anything." He tilted his head arrogantly. "Being sincere, let me tell you, if you want to win a girl back, sincerity is what matters most." "Tanto, Ethan, you understand me best," Felicia replied, a coy smile gracing her lips. The two of them played off each other, claiming to despise money, yet the greed in their eyes was practically spilling over. I turned the steering wheel to back up. No need. My sincerity isn't for those who don't know how to cherish it. Felicia's expression suddenly turned ugly. She got out of the car, walked over, yanked open my car door, and swept everything from the seats onto the ground. "And Sincere, I told you. I won't forgive you easily this time. Don't think you can buy people off with this junk." The property deed from the passenger seat and gift boxes scattered across the pavement. These were gifts my parents had personally chosen for Victoria's family. My heart ached and I quickly got out to pick them up. Ethan also got out of the car. Pretending not to see, he stepped squarely on the property deed, leaving a dirty footprint. Furious, I shoved him away. Ethan staggered back, collapsing dramatically onto the ground. Felicia immediately turned red-eyed and pushed me. "Sincere, how dare you hit him? Sensei already told you, Ethan and I are just acting. Can't you have a little tolerance? I want to see what's more important in your heart, these things. Or me," she screamed, stomping madly on the gift boxes like a lunatic. Watching the gifts being utterly destroyed, a vein throbbed in my forehead. Behind Felicia's back, Ethan shot me a defiant look, then added fuel to the fire with a feigned, innocent tone. Felicia, I hate to say it, but look at the kind of boyfriend you found after leaving me. T gets angry and throws tantrums at the drop of a hat, and now he's getting physical. Are you sure he won't be abusive after you get married? A 5 hint. I thought I made myself perfectly clear yesterday. I forcefully pushed Felicia away and started gathering the scattered gift boxes. We have broken up. I hope you two will stop interfering in my life from now on. Felicia's expression froze, a flicker of panic in her eyes, but only for an instant. She forced a smile. Sincere. Who could you possibly love besides me? See, go ahead, act tough. I'll be waiting for the day you come crawling back, regretting this. With that, she and Ethan jumped back into the car and sped off. Forced to choke on their exhaust fumes, I couldn't contain my anger. Watching the red sports car disappear, I suddenly remembered that the car Felicia was driving was a gift from me. Normally, I wouldn't care about gifts I'd given away, but their repeated provocations had pushed me past my limit. I decided it was time to reclaim what I'd given. After rearranging the gifts, I went to the Mason's house. Victoria's parents were also furious about Ethan's despicable actions. Learning that Victoria and I were already married, they couldn't stop smiling. Good. Victoria's father, Robert Mason, clapped me on the shoulder, laughing heartily, and I always said my daughter deserved better. After dinner, Victoria took me for a walk in their small garden to aid digestion. I asked her, "Has Ethan been bothering you lately?" She rolled her eyes. "Has he ever stopped?" And deliberately flaunts Felicia in front of me, living in his fantasy world where I'm supposed to get jealous and come begging for his forgiveness. I reassured her. Don't worry. After tomorrow, his little dream world is going to shatter. She laughed, a small dimple appearing beside her lips. I found myself momentarily captivated. My gaze made her blush, and she playfully poked my chest, trying to look stern. So you think those two disasters will flip out and try to crash our wedding tomorrow when they find out? I thumped my chest in assurance. Relax. I've arranged for double the security at the hotel this time. I guarantee not even an extra fly will get into our wedding venue. Before dawn, the makeup artist roused me from bed. It wasn't until I put on the suit and stood before the mirror that the reality of getting married again truly sank in. Picking up the bride went smoothly. I carried Victoria into the wedding car, and we slowly headed towards the hotel. Unexpectedly, upon arrival, a large crowd was blocking the entrance, arguing loudly. Looking closer, I saw it was Felicia Fletcher and her relatives. Felicia was wearing a white-themed outfit similar to her wedding attire from a few days ago, surrounded by her family. What's going on up there? Victoria mumbled, unable to see clearly. I soothed her. Wait in the car, I'll go check it out. After I got out, Felicia looked at me, still wearing a sulky expression. In contrast, her parents, Gerald and Agnes Fletcher, gave me ingratiating smiles. Son-in-law, Felicia was definitely in the wrong the other day. I've already given her a harsh lesson, Gerald Fletcher said, forcefully pushing Felicia towards me. I stepped aside, making no effort to hide my disgust. Monid, we've already broken up. Felicia crossed her arms, sneering. Sincere, what are you pretending for? Sincere, I heard all about it. After I left that day, you not only went to my favorite jewelry store to order a bigger diamond ring, but you also chose this even more luxurious hotel. Isn't it obvious you're trying to win me back? She tilted her head towards the long line of wedding cars behind me. I'm making such a huge spectacle. Even having my parents dragged me here. When did you learn to resort to emotional blackmail? Well, I'm here now. Satisfied. Her parents hissed at her urgently. Watch your mouth. Felicia was still lost in her own fantasy, while her parents had grasped reality much faster. After all, just yesterday I had deliberately sent my lawyer to their house to demand the return of all the valuable assets I had gifted during my relationship with Felicia. They realized their daughter had seriously overplayed her hand this time, hence their frantic effort to dress her up and bring her here today. Felicia, however, still looked smug. Seeing me in a different suit, her expression soured and she snapped, Is this how you apologize? Look, what you're wearing today doesn't match my dress at all. 10 Sincere, I'll give you half an hour. Go back and change right now, since you don't change. I'm not going through with this wedding today. It was like she couldn't understand plain English. My own anger flared. What the hell does it have to do with me? Marry or don't marry, I don't care. And get out of the way. Her face turned ugly. Sincere, you dare swear at me? When do you even want to get married, today or not? I looked at her, smiling faintly. Of course I do, just not to you. What do you mean? The next moment, Victoria, wearing a champagne-colored gown that matched my suit, stepped out of the car, came to my side, linked her arm through mine, and smiled brightly. Darling, if we don't hurry, we'll miss the auspicious time. Felicia's eyes instantly turned red, red with fury, that is. She seemed unable to believe what she was seeing, pointing a trembling finger at my nose and screaming, "Unsincere Lawrence, what the hell is this? I know I hate that fake woman, Victoria Mason, the most. Are you deliberately using her to provoke me?" "Pon, fine, I admit it," she gave in, grabbing my other arm desperately. "Pon, you really got to me this time. You win, okay? I agree to forgive you, get back together and marry you. Now hurry up and get rid of this bitch." I shook off her hand and signaled the hotel manager. "Tet security over here quickly." Felicia looked at Victoria with triumphant malice. "Victoria, you really are shameless, aren't you? First, you tried to steal Ethan from me. Now you're trying to steal Sincere. Do you just have to butt into everything I like? Ha 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 ha. Let me tell you, you're doomed to fail this time. Sincere only has eyes for me. And if I were you, I'd leave right now. Otherwise, it'll be really humiliating when security throws you out." The next second, I pointed at Felicia and told the arriving security guards. "And get this crazy woman and all these irrelevant people out of here. Don't let them ruin my wedding day." Felicia froze. "Throw me out?" As the guards grabbed, she kicked wildly. "Sincere, you're telling them to throw me out? What do you mean? You're not actually going to marry Victoria, are you? Oh, and you're crazy, she's Ethan's girlfriend." So she did know Ethan had a girlfriend. I ignored her, picked Victoria up in my arms and started walking towards the hotel entrance. Behind me, Felicia panicked, struggling and screaming like a mad woman. "Let me go, I'm the bride today. If you don't let me go, I'll have my husband fire all of you." "Then husband, don't go. I'm your wife. Aisho, all these years we've been together, are you just throwing me away?" In my arms, Victoria rolled her eyes repeatedly, finally unable to stand it anymore. She tapped my arms, signaling me to put her down. She stomped over to Felicia and delivered a sharp slap across her face. Half of Felicia's face immediately swelled up. "You dare hit me?" Before she could finish, the other side of her face received a slap too. Victoria took our marriage certificate from her bridesmaid's bag and flaunted it in Felicia's face. "Oh, bitch, who are you calling husband? Sincere Lawrence is my legal husband now. Are you addicted to being the other woman or something?" Seeing the marriage certificate, the color drained instantly from Felicia's face. "Oh, impossible. When did this happen?" I said, "That same day you decided to run off with Ethan. The moment you two eloped, Victoria and I went straight to get our marriage license. And because I finally realized that an indecisive woman like you simply doesn't deserve my love." Now Felicia's expression became even uglier. She finally burst into tears, desperately reaching for me. "Sincere, you love me, don't you? Why did you marry her? Zaino, you're angry. I abandoned you at the wedding, but I explained it was just an act. How could you marry her?" The audacity she had to question me was laughable. With so many people watching today, I had initially intended to spare her some dignity out of respect for our past relationship, but she just wouldn't let it go. I had my assistant bring out the evidence I had prepared and threw it harshly in Felicia's face. "McDonald act. Does acting require going this far? But don't try to pretty up cheating." It was a stack of photos I had specifically hired someone to take secretly. Felicia and Ethan in various places, embracing, kissing, and even photos of them getting intimate on a balcony on their wedding day. The photos scattered all over the ground, clear for everyone present to see. Felicia's parents, seeing their daughter's disgraceful behavior, blushed crimson with shame, wishing the ground would swallow them up. Felicia's face was deathly pale as she mumbled, "Oh no, it's not insincere. I didn't mean to. Ethan and I broke up long ago. He forced me to do all this. The one I truly love is still you." I kicked her hand away. "Ted lost. I'm not in the habit of cuckolding myself." With that, I picked Victoria up again and headed into the hotel. Unexpectedly, the next moment, another heart-wrenching shout came from behind. Ethan Chandler arrived, looking disheveled, blocking my path and trying to snatch Victoria from my arms. "Victoria, you can't marry him." "I don't agree. 9 even a worm will turn." What was wrong with today? First Felicia, now Ethan, taking turns playing the regretful lover in front of me. The fury I'd been suppressing finally erupted. I kicked Ethan away, placed Victoria safely aside, then jumped on top of him, raining punches down on him relentlessly. "Phew, son of a bitch, you getting addicted to crashing weddings, and my patience has its limits." Just as I was getting into it, Victoria suddenly shouted, "And Sincere, let go." I froze on the spot, a bitter taste filled my mouth. Because I suddenly remembered that just 3 days ago, Victoria was still Ethan's girlfriend, and supposedly they had a very strong relationship. Was she regretting it now? Did seeing Ethan stir up old feelings, making her want to call off the wedding? The thought made my heart ache. Was I, Sincere Lawrence, really that terrible that women kept abandoning me one after another? The next second, Victoria pushed me aside. "Don't kill him, let me." She took off her high heels, gripping one like a weapon, and started furiously striking Ethan's face and body with the heel. "Said bastard, how dare you show your face in front of me again, smack, and leaving me at the altar to run off with another woman. That's a capital offense in my book. In day is my wedding day, and you dare show up to ruin it. I'll beat you so bad your own mother won't recognize you." Ethan covered his head, writhing and screaming in pain. "Victoria, I'm sorry, I was wrong, since I only used Felicia to make you jealous. I didn't really want to break up with you. I still love you. Tanny, I'm sorry. Don't marry him. Marry me. I'll promise you anything. I'll treat you right this time. Appa." Victoria smacked him across the mouth with the sole of her shoe. "You worthless bastard, you're not even worthy of a single strand of my hair. You want to marry me? Go eat shit 10. It was the first time I'd seen Victoria this fierce. No one expected that on their wedding day, the bride and groom would be beating someone up at the hotel entrance. Everyone around was stunned. After a moment, the hotel manager finally snapped back to reality and quickly ordered the security guards to forcibly remove the disruptive individuals. Victoria put her shoes back on and looked at me somewhat awkwardly. "Sorry, I got a little too worked up seeing that scumbag. Did we miss the auspicious time?" "No," she caught her breath, then extended her hand towards me, asking tentatively, "So are we still getting married today?" I smiled, covering her slightly sweaty palm with mine, lacing our fingers together tightly. "Absolutely." Under the officiant's guidance and witnessed by both sets of parents, the wedding was finally completed successfully. As Victoria and I exchanged rings on the stage, Felicia and Ethan crouched outside the hall doors, peering desperately through the crack. They clung like leeches. The security guards couldn't completely drive them away, so they ended up just guarding the main entrance tightly to prevent them from disrupting the ceremony further. When Victoria and I exchanged our vows, the two outside shouted at the top of their lungs. "When I don't agree. For Sincere, you can't marry her. Since Victoria, you can't marry him." Fortunately, their voices were completely drowned out by the applause, cheers, and blessings from inside the hall. Even if we had heard them, what difference would it make? Victoria and I were already legally married, our bond not easily shaken by a few words from others. That night, Victoria and I lay side by side on the festive red wedding quilt, both exhausted, letting out long sighs. We chatted idly, somehow ending up talking about those two unfortunate souls, Ethan and Felicia. Curious, I asked her, "What happened at your wedding with Ethan that day? How did he suddenly end up crashing mine?" Victoria gritted her teeth. Tanit Dog replaced the wedding video with a PowerPoint presentation of his family's rules, demanded I kneel and kowtow 3 times to serve tea to his parents on stage, and even tried to force me to sign some bullshit prenup, and demanded I quit my job after marriage to serve his parents. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and even make my parents list him as the heir to their fortune. When I refused, he threatened me, called off the wedding, and just ran off. I chased after him and saw him running away with your bride. It's true, different people have different ways of being despicable. We both sighed deeply, commiserating over our past misfortunes with poor partners. Then I asked her, so when you agreed to marry me, weren't you afraid I might be just like Ethan? She thought for a few seconds, then rolled onto her side, propping her chin on her hand, studying me with doe-like eyes. Well, honestly, there was an element of risk involved at first when I didn't have strong feelings for Ethan. I was planning to break up with him by the end of the year anyway. But my dad's health hasn't been great these past couple of years, and he really wanted to see me married, settled with a suitable man to take care of me. If it wasn't Ethan, it would have been some other Tom, Dick or Harry. Seeing you standing on the stage, the heartbreak and loneliness in your eyes were so palpable. I just felt a pang of sympathy. Luckily, it seems my gamble paid off. Sunu stood up for me against Felicia and Ethan protected me. That made me believe you're someone I can rely on. I reached out and wrapped my arm around her waist, her delicate fragrance filling my senses. Victoria looked at me with deep affection, and a strange sense of joy bloomed within me. Her cheeks flushed crimson. She gently closed her eyes, her lashes fluttering, offering a silent invitation. I leaned in and kissed her lips. Later, in the depths of the passionate night, her arms were wrapped around my neck, her body moving with mine. I gently nibbled her earlobe and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret the decision you made that day." Local custom dictates a visit to the bride's family home on the 3rd day after the wedding. Loaded with gifts prepared by my parents, I drove Victoria towards the Mason's house. We had just left our neighborhood when someone blocked our path. Felicia Fletcher's figure once again came into view. She stood in front of the car, arms outstretched. My reaction had progressed from annoyance to numbness. How had I never realized before what an incredibly persistent leech Felicia was? Victoria patted my arm. "I'll wait in the car." As soon as I got out, Felicia rushed forward, trying to take my hand. I impatiently pushed her away. "Spit it out. I have things to do. No time to waste playing games with you." She put on a wounded expression. "Sincere. Are you really so impatient now that you can't even spare a few words for me? Pure nonsense." I turned to leave, but she called out sharply, finally stammering out her purpose. "It's just, those things you gave me before, can you please not take them back?" I laughed. Over the past 2 days, my company's legal department had visited the Fletchers and reclaimed all the high-value assets I had gifted Felicia during our relationship. This included the large apartment her parents were living in, their car, and Felicia's flashy red sports car. Altogether worth millions. Now that we were no longer involved, why should I continue gifting her such expensive things? Sincere, I truly know I was wrong. I've cut ties completely with Ethan. Can you please give me another chance? She pleaded tearfully. And besides, everyone makes mistakes, right? Didn't you immediately move on to that bitch Victoria Mason right after we broke up? Technically, you're the one at fault in this relationship, so what right do you have to take back the things you gave me? She actually had the nerve to turn the tables and blame me. When it came down to it, she just couldn't bear to part with my money. I was genuinely tired. Looking at her, my voice was flat. "Felicia, you know perfectly well whose fault this is. I've already shown you considerable decency. It's my money. I'll give it to whomever I please. It's none of your business. If you keep harassing me, I'll send the lawyers back to your house tomorrow to collect all the bags and jewelry too." Those items combined were worth at least $200,000 or $300,000. At the mention of returning everything, Felicia immediately shut up. I looked at the woman I had loved for several years. She looked like she hadn't slept well these past few days. Her face was gaunt, eyes bloodshot, dark circles and bags under her eyes, so prominent that heavy makeup couldn't conceal them. There was still a faint handprint on her cheek, likely from her angry parents. If this had been the old me, seeing her like this would have broken my heart. But now I felt nothing. I said, on the day you walked out of the wedding, you told me you couldn't forget Ethan. Now that I've let you go to be with him, why are you still bothering me? So both still have feelings for each other. Why don't you just get married quickly and try to make a life together? At the mention of Ethan, disgust immediately flashed in Felicia's eyes. Impossible. I could never marry Ethan. Anaid broke up with him in the first place because I couldn't stand his family. Not much money, but tons of ridiculous rules. Said I'd rather be single forever than actually marry Ethan. I was rather speechless. If she wasn't willing to marry Ethan, why did she stage that whole elopement drama in the first place? All I could say was, you reap what you sow. Her current situation was entirely her own doing. Felicia, I'm warning you one last time. I am married now. Please stop interfering in my life. But know very well, if I really wanted to make things difficult for you, I have plenty of ways and means. After I completely cut ties with Felicia, Ethan also harassed Victoria a few times. He waited for her downstairs at her company building, holding flowers, making a big scene, humbling himself to confess his love and apologize. He even pulled out a diamond ring, knelt on one knee, and proposed to Victoria again. Oblivious bystanders egged Victoria on, telling her to accept. Victoria wasn't having any of it. She slapped Ethan's handsome face left and right until it was swollen like a pig's head. She also loudly broadcasted all of Ethan's misdeeds, the elopement, the cheating, the bizarre family rules. The whole incident was filmed by onlookers and uploaded online. Now everyone knew Ethan Chandler was an absolute scumbag. His reputation was utterly ruined. 14 after that, Victoria and I embarked on our honeymoon trip. We had new wedding photos taken and renewed our vows to each other for a lifetime of companionship in a church in Paris. Upon returning from our honeymoon, the next news we heard about Felicia and Ethan was splashed across the front page of the city newspaper. With his reputation destroyed and unable to win Victoria back, Ethan had gone crawling back to Felicia, although Felicia had sworn she wouldn't marry Ethan. She still harbored feelings for him. A few sweet nothings from him were enough to lure her back into his web. This time, Ethan deliberately poked holes in condoms. Once Felicia was pregnant, he brought his parents to the Fletcher's house to formally propose marriage. Felicia had already had several abortions for Ethan when she was younger. The doctor warned that if she didn't carry this pregnancy to term, she might never be able to have children of her own. Left with no choice, they had a shotgun wedding. After a hastily arranged ceremony, Felicia moved into the Chandler household. The Chandlers' bizarre family rules began to be enforced upon Felicia one by one. Things like having to wake up at 5 a.m. to cook breakfast for the entire family, women not being allowed to eat at the main table, having to kneel on the floor, while listening to lectures from her father-in-law and mother-in-law. Felicia was tormented until she was a shadow of her former self, and she eventually lost the baby. She complained to Ethan, but he just mocked her. Unwo told you to be unable to control your lower half back then. Didn't you think you were still the precious high society wife? Sincere Lawrence pampered. Now that you've married into my family, you follow my family's rules. Felicia wanted a divorce, but her in-laws refused, even locking her in her room. Finally, pushed beyond endurance, Felicia waited until the whole family was asleep late one night, poured gasoline throughout the house, and set it ablaze, taking everyone, including herself, down in flames. Seeing the news, Victoria shivered with lingering fear. Thank goodness Ethan ran off that day. I was so lucky I didn't marry into that family. Inzish, I should thank Ethan for not marrying me. I suppose that's what they mean when they say fate protects the fortunate. I smiled and wrapped my arm around her waist. Anacase, tonight I'll make your favorite sweet and sour ribs to help calm your nerves. She threw a pillow at me, feigning annoyance. Sincere Lawrence, stop tempting me with delicious food, and you've already made me gain weight.